Another week of football, another set of rankings, and boy, are things really starting to heat up.
And I'm saying, look the hell out. The Arizona Cardinals are coming. That's not something that I ever wanted to say.
If we had to describe the 2021 NFL season through 4 weeks in just one word, parity. Only 12 teams have losing records. Close to a dozen teams look like bona fide Super Bowl contenders. There really isn't a clear-cut top team so far. You gotta love it. As we prepare for what should be another action-filled week of football, it's time to dive into our Week 5 power rankings. Number 32, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 32. Yikes times 3. The Jaguars looked poised to win their first game in the Urban Meyer Trevor Lawrence era before completely folding against Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. Lawrence has taken a lot of hits. The young defense isn't getting any stops. And Meyer is, well, learning that the NFL is a whole new ballgame, to put it nicely. It's beginning to look like he may have bitten off more than he can chew. Number 31, Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking, 29. Unlike the Jaguars, the Lions have shown a lot of fight, despite being 0-4. Their efforts against the San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens were admirable given the lack of talent across the roster. The Lions already look a lot more spirited and motivated under Dan Campbell than they ever did with Matt Patricia. So at least there's something positive for their fans to take from this season thus far. Number 30, Houston Texans. Last time's ranking, 27. The Texans are playing the horrible football that most of us expected they would. I mean, this team was already bad when Deshaun Watson was playing MVP caliber football. Then they lost him, and Tyrod Taylor. Davis Mills clearly isn't the answer. This season can't end soon enough for the Texans. A franchise quarterback should be at the top of their wish list this offseason. Number 29, Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 26. Another blown lead for the Falcons. Raise your hands if you've heard this story before. They held an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter, but allowed 2 touchdowns inside the final 4 minutes. The last coming with 33 ticks remaining against the struggling Washington football team. At 1-3, it's not too early to think that Matt Ryan is playing out his final season in Atlanta. Number 28, Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 24. Remember when the Eagles were 1-0 and looking like a legit contender? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Jalen Hurts has shown flashes, but he's also struggled for significant stretches in each of the past 3 weeks. And the defense seems to be getting worse as the season goes on. Nick Sirianni wasn't brought in to make miracles happen, but if he doesn't get this team back on track soon, could he be at risk of being one and done in Philly? Number 27, New York Jets. Last time's ranking, 31. Zach Wilson looked like a different creature on Sunday. He made plenty of big-time throws to help Gang Green upset the injury-riddled Titans at MetLife Stadium in overtime. That's the quarterback the Jets envisioned when they selected him second overall. He finally got some decent pass protection and picked apart the Titans secondary. And now they get a very winnable game in London against the unraveling Falcons in Week 5. Number 26, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 30. What a comeback that was. The Giants, led by Daniel Jones' 402 passing yards and Saquon Barkley's 2 scores, rallied for a stunning upset against the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome in overtime. Jones is playing some of the best football of his career right now. What if we told you he had more passing yards than Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, and Russell Wilson? Or a better completion percentage than Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers? If he and Barkley can really get this offense going, the Giants will push for that winnable NFC East crown. Number 25, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 22. Most teams just can't win without their starting quarterback. That's the case for Brian Flores' group, which now has dropped 3 straight contests, the latest being a 27-17 stinker at home against the desperate Indianapolis Colts. The Finns have to find a way to upset the Bucs on the road in Week 5. The schedule really eases up over the next 2.5 months, but falling to 1-4 will likely end any playoff hopes this group had. Number 24, Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 18. The high-powered Vikings offense was stymied by the Cleveland Browns. Many dropped to 1-3 on the season as a lack of offensive production wasted another stellar outing by Mike Zimmer's defense. The schedule doesn't get any friendlier in the coming weeks, so let's just say if they don't take care of business against the Lions in Week 5, then yeah, they can kiss the postseason goodbye. Number 23, New England Patriots. Last time's ranking, 21. Well, the Patriots just don't get the bounces anymore. This team could easily be 3-1, but it was Tom Brady who got the last laugh over Bill Belichick. The Patriots defense kept Tampa's offense in check for most of the night, but the late-game gaffes, miscues, and uncharacteristic penalties are worrisome. It's very uncharacteristic for a Belichick-coached club. You can bet the hooded genius is not a happy man right now. Number 22, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking, 20. Nothing really to celebrate for the Steelers, who just couldn't keep up with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. The 27-17 defeat drops Pittsburgh to 1-3 on the season. Roethlisberger looks done. The O-line is in shambles. Najee Harris isn't providing a spark to this rushing game. The defense is giving up big plays, which is just not like them at all. And to make matters worse, their 3 AFC North rivals are all 3-1. Other than that, nothing to worry about in Steeler land. Number 21, Indianapolis Colts. Last time's ranking, 28. A big jump for the Colts here following the win in Miami, and a well-deserved one. It's a whole new ball game in the AFC South, with the Colts now just one game behind the 2-2 Titans. Number 20, Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking, 25. Usually, you shouldn't celebrate a win over the Lions too much, but considering how awful the Bears were at Cleveland in Week 3, we offer Bears fans permission to really enjoy this one. Matt Nagy finally drew up a decent game plan to accommodate Justin Fields' skill set. And the defense bounced back nicely with 4 sacks on Goff and a pair of turnovers. Now, if Fields can just continue to play more like the Week 4 version of himself, these monsters of the Midway might start going places. Number 19, Washington Football Team. Last time's ranking, 23. A pivotal comeback win in Atlanta moves Washington to 2-2 on the year. They needed that, with the Dallas Cowboys also taking care of business in Week 4. Taylor Heineke is looking like he's more than capable of running this offense. So, what's going on with that defense? Number 18, New Orleans Saints. Last time's ranking, 16. The unofficial award for most disappointing loss of the week should go to the Saints. They had the reeling Giants right where they wanted them, up 2 scores at home in the 4th quarter. Then the Giants reel off 17 unanswered points against that stout defense? Maybe New Orleans isn't much of a playoff contender after all. Not if they're losing games like this. Number 17, Tennessee Titans. Last time's ranking, 13. Runner-up to most disappointing loss of the week can go to Mike Vrabel's group. Yes, they were ravaged by injuries, but a loss to the previously winless Jets? You couldn't even salvage a tie? Yikes. A wasted opportunity to really build a big division lead over the Colts. Julio Jones and A.J. Brown cannot return soon enough. Number 16, San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 12. A second straight home loss following a promising 2-0 start. Jimmy Garoppolo now has a calf injury, and who knows if rookie Trey Lance is truly ready for the starting role. 2-2 isn't a horrible record by any means, but the 49ers are going to have to put some wins together if they want to keep pace in the highly competitive NFC West. They sure could use a veteran cornerback. Stephon Gilmore, anyone? Number 15, Denver Broncos. Last time's ranking, 11. 3-1 is a record to be proud of, but the Broncos' first 3 opponents have combined for 2 wins this year. They were met with a harsh dose of reality against a legitimate opponent in Week 4, falling 23-7 against Lamar Jackson's Ravens. Teddy Bridgewater's concussion is something to monitor. If he misses time, can Drew Lock keep this ship above water? That's the million-dollar question in Mile High. Number 14, Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 17. What a nice early season success story Joe Burrow and the Bengals have been. They're now 3-1 following a thrilling Thursday night win over Jacksonville. The O-line still has its flaws, as expected, but Burrow and the offense are simply getting things done. And how about giving Lou Anarumo's defense some more respect? They're allowing just 18.8 points per game, considerably lower than the 2020 group that allowed an average of 26.5 per contest. Number 13, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 19. No team saved their season more than Seattle. Russell Wilson had a field day against the 49ers, pacing the Seahawks to a 2-2 record following a concerning Week 3 loss in Minnesota. Playing in football's toughest division made this win all the more valuable. Seattle cannot fall behind the Arizona Cardinals or Los Angeles Rams. Number 12, Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking, 6. Sam Darnold and company narrowly fell to Dak's Cowboys 36-28. Have to think an active Christian McCaffrey would have made quite the difference. Anyway, 3-1 is nothing to complain about. Carolina has one of their toughest games out of the way, and they're still tied for first in the NFC South. Number 11, Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking, 2. It was getting ugly for the Raiders on Monday night, but then they came out in the second half and made things interesting. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough, as they were dealt their first loss of the season by the Chargers. Still, Gruden's team has shown something through the first quarter of their schedule, and they have a perfect opportunity to bounce back when they get the unimpressive Bears at home in Week 5. Number 10, Kansas City Chiefs. Last time's ranking, 15. A dominant bounce-back win for Patrick Mahomes and company in Philly. KC can reestablish themselves as the team to beat in the NFC by defeating the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football in Week 5. Also, congrats to Andy Reid on becoming the first head coach to win 100 games with 2 separate franchises. Number 9, Los Angeles Chargers. Last time's ranking, 14. With a win over the previously undefeated Raiders, the Chargers now sit at 3-1. Justin Herbert is one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league at the moment. But how about head coach Brandon Staley? The dude is already looking like the next great NFL head coaching prodigy, with his incredible play calling and fearless in-game decisions. How can you not root for these guys? Number 8, Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking, 10. Sorry, Cowboys haters, but it's time to take America's team seriously as a contender. This offense is practically unstoppable with Dak back in the fold, plus he revived Ezekiel Elliott. And to think, Michael Gallup isn't even out there at the moment. The biggest surprise for Dallas has been the defense, however. Their opportunistic style has them racking up the takeaways, and it starts with Trayvon Diggs, who would probably be Defensive Player of the Year if the season ended today. Number 7, Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking, 9. The Browns' 3-1 start shouldn't surprise anybody, but don't just focus on that offense. Look at the turnaround by this defense. They've allowed just 16.8 points and only 250.3 yards of offense per game. Amazing work to hold Minnesota to 7 points, considering that Kirk Cousins was averaging over 300 passing yards per game entering Week 4. Number 6, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 8. A third straight W for the Ravens, who thoroughly dominated the previously undefeated Broncos on the road. Lamar Jackson had his first 300-yard passing game of the season, against a top-notch secondary no less. If he puts more efforts like that together, this Baltimore offense will really be tough to scheme against. Number 5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking, 7. Tom Brady's emotional and highly anticipated return to Foxborough ended in classic Tom Brady fashion, with a clutch game-winning drive at the end. Take that, Pats fans! Now you know what it feels like! Jokes aside, the Bucs front 7 really stepped up amid all the injuries in their secondary. Leonard Fournette finally got the ground game going. Looks like the defending champs are back on track. Number 4, Los Angeles Rams. Last time's ranking, 1. The Rams were due for a loss following a flawless 3-0 start. And hey, that's okay. Sometimes you need these early defeats to stay focused and sharp. You know Matthew Stafford won't struggle like that too often, and a defense with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald isn't gonna get lit up like that very often either. We still love this team's chances of a deep playoff run. Number 3, Green Bay Packers. Last time's ranking, 5. When will people learn not to overreact to a poor performance, or 2, from Aaron Rodgers? That ugly Week 1 loss to New Orleans feels like a lifetime ago. Rodgers has now followed a gutsy road win in San Fran by annihilating Pittsburgh's stingy defense. There's honestly a case to be made that the Packers are truly the team to beat in the NFC. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 4. Speaking of teams to beat, is there a more well-balanced group than the Bills in the AFC? The defense is allowing just 11 points and 216.8 yards per game. And after a sluggish first week, the offense is rolling again. Josh Allen has regained his MVP form. A Week 5 road win in Kansas City would really show that Buffalo is the team to beat in the AFC, and maybe the entire NFL. Number 1, Arizona Cardinals. Last time's ranking, 3. Not only are they undefeated, but the Cardinals absolutely dominated our previously ranked #1 team. 35 points per game through 4 weeks, 9 takeaways by the defense? Oh yeah, Cliff Kingsbury's group is for real. The fact that AJ Green leads Arizona in receiving over Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, and Rondale Moore should especially scare the rest of the NFL. Kyler Murray is the current MVP frontrunner if you ask us. But what changes would you make to our Week 5 power rankings? Join us in the comments section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.